You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks 101 with Keith Engle. Hope you guys are having a great week and getting ready for a big weekend as we head towards Thanksgiving week. No guests today. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. We're going to give you guys the opportunity to pop in and go off on a rant for 5 minutes or so. But I want to welcome, we'll talk about the guest situation here in a little bit as well. And maybe I'll feed you guys a little bit of stuff. We want to welcome everybody watching this morning on Facebook, our TGI Sports Talk feed, our personal feed, the YouTube TGI Sports Talk feed, and the X feed. And of course, we're live on Roku, the National Streaming Sports Roku channel, where we just got through filling in for Mac McGrath on the Mac and Jack show, the Friday morning edition. Happy to do that for Mac as he recovers, and hopefully we do send him our best wishes, and hopefully he's back soon, back in his seat, piloting everything here on the Roku channel and National Streaming Sports in general, and we're proud to be associated with them. Also, quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff down there in Pittsburgh. Maybe he'll be on to do a rant about his Steelers last night losing in horrendous fashion, in my mind. 7 turnovers last night in this game. Not a pretty game. But maybe Ralph will be on to rant a little about his Steelers. He does some great stuff there, including the Sports Corner every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time with Smoking Jim Frazier. I've had the pleasure of being a guest there several times. DDH, thumbs up. I know you're looking down at us always. And some of the groups, John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities, Flo and the gang at Bottom Line Sports does a great podcast, which is on Let's Talk Sports. Dan Harris's baby, when Darren passed on, when Dan passed on, sadly, Tanner D picked up the reins over there. Has done a great job, and a lot of great content there, as well as on National Streaming Sports. Ken Krause at Golf Buds, sports of all sorts. Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball. A lot of great groups out there. That's just a few of them, by the way. Program note, we'll do the MLB update. Drew Urich will join us at 3 p.m. today, and we'll kind of review the 2024 baseball season a bit and look at our picks, and the award winners are all out now. So we'll chat about that. And Sunday we'll be back with the Stream of Consciousness. As far as guests, we're going to do the rant again today, guys. So right now the links are in there. I'll continue to post them throughout the show. You can comment like you normally would on a Sunday, but no interview today. We hope to have Rick Barry, and Rick's a good guy. These guys are all good guys, but time doesn't mean the same thing to them as it does to me. Apparently, Rick's gone a little dark on me, and I don't mean any offense, Rick, if you happen to catch this. We hope to have Rick on soon. We got a lot of guys that we are, just so you know, we haven't had interviews since I went on vacation, and I do apologize, but just to give you guys an idea of some of the people that I have been in contact with and trying to get on this show. Fran Tarkenton, Billy Sample will be on the show. It looks like December 6th. Billy Sample, former Yankee, Ranger, Brave, will be on the show. Artis Gilmore going to be on the show. Former NBA great, one of the great NBA centers when we had NBA centers. Will be on for sure. Just again, a matter of the date. June Jones will be on. It's a matter of the date. Who else have I had contact with here recently? Rudy Tomjanovich I've been in contact with. Mario Ellie played with the Rockets and And here in Albany with patroons when Phil Jackson was the coach here. Spencer Haywood, Leo Routens, former Syracuse great. Who else have I? Jeff Fry, former Major League Baseball player. John Lieber, Al Oliver, all guys I've had contact with, and there's more here, guys. Lee Mazzilli. My God, I keep going. Biff Roberts, Neil Lumsden from the CFL. He's a politician up there now. So Randy Jones, Dennis Rasmussen, Jim Leyritz, all these guys I've had contact with, mostly positive, and we're still waiting to get them on the show. So anyway, that's how hard it is to get guests, man. It just takes forever to get these guys to commit. But anyway, we'll fill in these Fridays with I'm counting on you guys. Jeremy came on last week. Alan has come on a few times. Ralph has come on a few times. I hope you guys will commit and help me out on a Friday. Everybody talks about how much they appreciate me coming on and doing the show while I'm on a cruise, and I'm more than happy. Guys, I love doing this show. I do the show for you guys and for my fun. Help me out. Come in the show, click the link. I'll see you in the green room below, and you can have a little coffee and a little steak and eggs or whatever. And then we'll bring you in to do your rant, and we'll chat a little bit. That's going to be our Friday morning until we get these guests. And it could be we run in streaks. I get 8 weeks in a row with a guest, and then now we've been, 4 or 5 weeks without one, but part of that was being away. And again, it just takes time and effort to get these guys in. I have talked, by the way, I got to a conversation a week or so ago. I don't remember who I was talking to. Tommy Adamczyk might have been. Tommy, was I talking to your daughter? I don't know who I was talking to that day. But said I should go to Albany and get somebody who's looking for an internship, who's doing journalism or whatever. I don't know exactly which department I would go to. But if anybody knows anything about that, I'd appreciate the heads up, because I'd love to get somebody to start doing some of this legwork, and we'll do it for free. And hopefully we can help them, do some interning or whatever they need to do to get their degrees. I'm certainly willing to help out in that area. So, oh my God, these people. Sorry. It's just, oh my God, I just don't understand. It's work. Anyway, we could talk about some stuff last night. We had an ugly football game last night. I mean, there were some positives. The weather, it's always fun to watch a weather game. But Pickens needs to shut up, talking about the Browns are no good. They just beat your ass. Right? Don't blame the weather. You're an outside football team playing in Pittsburgh. And, man. And Nick Chubb, good story for Nick Chubb coming back and played very well. It looks like Jason Kelsey's going to host a late night TV show on ESPN. Is anybody, and listen, I love the Chiefs. I love the way they play ball. I've tried to get away from the whole Taylor Swift thing, but I'm getting a little tired of Jason Kelsey. I really am. Bob Kraft denied again a Hall of Fame bid. We'll talk about all this stuff on Sunday as well. But this is, how does Bob Kraft not get in the Hall of Fame? Jerry Jones has been in there for quite a while. Somebody explain this to me. He's in the contributors committee. They cut down to their, I think, semifinalists. I'm not sure exactly where they cut down to. The whole process for the NFL Hall of Fame is ridiculous to begin with. But he was passed over for I don't know, by somebody. Hayes. The guy who's got an honor named after him in the Hall of Fame, but is not in the Hall of Fame. Ralph Hayes. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I got to find out about the rest of these Hall of Fame cut downs too, because we want to find out if good friend of the show, Chuck Foreman, has gotten in or not. What else? What else do I want to talk about? We can talk about the Tyson debacle last week. What a joke. Absolute joke. And by the way, the NFL has got 2 games on Netflix on Christmas Day. How much have they got to be concerned about that, for crying out loud? Oh my God. me see. Are we actually on? I haven't checked this. Let me just check something real quick while we're here. Sorry, frustrated with some of this stuff going on at work. People, whatever. I'm not going to. It's on there. Let me just check because we've had some Facebook issues. I want to make sure. And again, we could have a small crowd because of lack of interviews. And I understand totally, guys. I mean, come on. Are we on? Yeah, we are on. Good. All right. Anyway, we got all this stuff we can talk about. Where are we? I know we've become friends with Alfred. I bet I don't think I've had a chance to reach out to Alfred Anderson. I keep forgetting that one. Let me write that down on my list here, Rick. I would like to get him in, and he was just inducted into the Texas Hall of Fame. So congratulations to him on that great honor. I'm gonna write that down. Thank you, Rick, for that. I know you've mentioned it before, and when I get into my reaching out mode, he's a guy that I keep forgetting to reach out to. I must have reached out to a bunch of guys. I just mentioned a few of them here recently. So, guys, there's lots to rant about. Hall of Fame, Major League Baseball honors. We'll be on with Drew at 3:00, as I said, to kind of review the honors, all the MVP, the Cy Young, Manager of the Year, blah, 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 and our picks. I'm having trouble finding my list here, so I'm probably going to do much better than I thought I did. Joking. Because I have a pretty good memory when it comes to these things. He said with a straight face. I had this stuff until I had to clear a bunch of stuff off my desk, and I don't know what I did with it now. We can talk more about, you can come in and rant about the college football playoff poll if you'd like. There's that. The NBA, Knicks got off to a bit of a slow start. Now they've won 4 in a row. It's a little early yet. Cleveland won their first 15 and then lost to the Celtics. Probably an important loss, even though they've won 15 in a row. Something to keep an eye on. Jack had brought up Quinn Ewers possibly staying in school, by the way. We could talk about Deion. I was totally wrong about Deion in Colorado. Colorado controls their own destiny. And by the way, Rick, Georgia still doesn't control their own destiny. I brought it up the other night. I mean, they kind of do, but they don't. Not entirely. There are tiebreakers, and I can't even get into them because there's a possibility, as I mentioned on Thursday night show, that 6 or 7 teams could finish with 2 losses, all tied in the Southeast Conference. And Georgia and Ole Miss, quite frankly, might be better off not making the conference championship game, where they would have a place to, fully guarantee their appearance in the playoff, but also a third loss could doom them. So we may see these conference championship games going away. A lot of money involved, but we could see them going away. So anyway, guys, it's your rant time. You come in, any topic. I've just run off a few. There's more we can talk about. We don't get a chance always to talk a lot of NFL. We don't get a lot of chance to talk a lot of NBA. We talk a lot of MLB. We talk a lot of NFL. I shouldn't say that. College football, we talk a lot about, obviously, with a show. Ronnie Bear's with us, probably working. Syracuse loses a tough one last night. Who did they lose to last night? I haven't even looked at the college basketball yet. As soon as college football starts to wind down, we move the college huddle to more basketball oriented. Let me just see who'd Syracuse lose to last night. By the way, the Syracuse men, and as we've talked about, I had a little dispute with somebody in a place we watch football. I assume Ronnie's talking about the Syracuse men. Maybe you're not, because I don't see them having played. Did you talk about Syracuse football? Is that right? Did Syracuse play last night? Texas. Was it last night, Ronnie? Oh, there it is. Texas 70-66. Listen, they were off to a 3-1 start. 3-0 start. Texas is pretty good. Adrian Autry's second year. I would expect this team to be better than it was last year. And I know you're working, Ronnie. Otherwise, I would say get in here and make some comments. But yeah, I got it. Thank you, buddy. Syracuse has, look at Syracuse. Another place I'll do a rant. I got a couple rants that I'll give you guys. One, Syracuse women lost to actually they lost to Albany State, Rick. I don't believe they lost to Siena, unless they may have played both, but as far as I know, they lost to Albany State here the other night. And by the way, I think Siena and Albany State are playing. I think they're playing in the Albany Cup or whatever we call it this week, or maybe that was last week. Maybe I missed it. Syracuse was down by 16. I'll give you a little rant here this morning on my own before one of you guys decides to pull the trigger and jump in the show here. As we keep posting this link, thinking you guys will get in. Syracuse, the whole realignment in football hurt basketball so badly. Syracuse has not been the same since they had to go to the ACC. The program, I don't want to say it's irrelevant because it's not, but they've been a shell of the program that they were before they had to go to the ACC. They lost their identity as not being part of the Big East. They lost some great rivalry games every single year with St. John's, with Georgetown, with Connecticut. Just to name a few. There was no league in the history of basketball like the Big East. Like the Big East. I don't know what happened there. We had a little error on one of our YouTube things here. And Syracuse having to go to the ACC because of the football team really, really hurt that program. I mean, I don't think it's possible. They need to go back. If they could find their way back to the Big East to play basketball, that'd be wonderful, but it's not going to happen. And this basketball program is never likely to be what it was. And that's the fact with a lot of programs. I think all the Big East programs that came south to the AAC were hurt by that. Big Monday. Ronnie, great point. I mean, they invented the big game during the regular season in college basketball. Now there's just too many. I mean, now there's too many games, but Dave Gavitt and everybody that put that Big East together. Watch again. I bash ESPN because I hate ESPN with a passion for reasons that may or may not be obvious. To some people, they'll be obvious. They have a wonderful 30 for 30 on the Big East, the beginning of the Big East, called the Requiem for the Big East, I believe it is. Great 30 for 30. Their documentaries are top shelf, Emmy award winning. And check this one out. If you're a college basketball fan, and you want to learn about a little bit about the history of, listen, people talk about Bird and Magic, and they were big, but they left in 1979. In 1980 or 79, the Big East was born. And in my mind, Big East basketball might have saved college basketball. Tremendous. Hall of Fame coaches. The coaches that were coaching in that league when it started, Louis Carnesecca, Boeheim, Calhoun, who else was there? Ronnie at Providence. I think, Gavitt, I think, had stepped away. But you had Rick Barnes, you had Pitino. Maybe Pitino was at Providence. He was for a time. You had Bill Raftery actually was the first coach at Seton Hall in the Big East, and then it was oh God, what's the guy's name? It took him to a final. Seton Hall. I know I'm forgetting some guys too. But just tremendous. You're right. Hall of Fame coaches everywhere. They made basketball in the East was like almost non-existent as far as coverage. Everything was in the Midwest and West, UCLA, the Big Ten. Pac-12, SEC was not even a big deal, as big a deal. Well, Kentucky was big. I shouldn't say that. But the Big East really, I think, that's where the explode. People really talk about the Bird of Magic in that final really being the jump-off point for college basketball, and it probably was. But you got to keep the momentum going. They were leaving school. Big East was where it was at. That's a great rant today. I love that. Big East going away is one of the worst things happen to college basketball. And then the Big East is back, or stayed, I guess, and Big East is starting to come back as a relevant league, but it'll never be what it was when we had Big Monday. Like I think I mentioned John Thompson. If I didn't, I apologize. Just tremendous. That Monday night was huge. That was as big as Monday Night Football. Almost. That's probably better with hyperbole right there, right? And we can continue talking about that. I loved it. I loved it. Another rant I have is this. Forget about the fight last Friday, or whatever we want to call that. I don't think it was scripted. I don't think it was fixed. I think this was a 55-year-old guy who just couldn't get his punch off. So forget about the fight. I could care less about the fight. My big problem is the NFL now is getting into bed with Netflix, and this won't be the end of it. Christmas Day, $50 million, $75 million each for 2 games. 2 really good games, by the way. Kansas City at Pittsburgh and Baltimore at Houston. If we have a production like we had here, now I would fully expect that they find a way to get their buffering issues into control. I would certainly hope that happens before Christmas Day. The NFL met with Netflix this week, and they've assured them they'll be better. But forget about that. Well, Ronnie was always able to get me on a rant. You sure were, Ron. Ron, if you came on the show and you continue to come on, if you get in the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, that's where it really all gets done. You could be I don't know if you'd be able to. I don't think you can get in the running for the Itch Award this year, but you could probably if you were to get there next year. What'd I say? What'd I say? 58. Not 55. What'd I say? What the hell did I even say 58 about? I got to look back. Unlike your prior coach, you admit your mistakes and when you're wrong. I do. You're right. What did I say 58 about? Oh, God, I don't remember now. Help me out, Rick, because I don't remember what I said 58 about. Anyway, getting back to Netflix, the production was terrible. I think it was like watching the WWE, and even I'm talking about the people in front of the camera, the people behind the camera, the way they jumped around, the way they did interviews, the way it was so, to me, disjointed. If their production, and as far as I know, they're doing their own producing these games, they have their own announcers. Let's check this out, by the way, because we're not that far away. We're the announcers for Netflix football. Let's check it out. I'm curious. Netflix NFL. Let's see if I get anything here. All right. So at least this won't be terrible. Well, maybe it will. I don't know. Ian Eagle, who I like a lot, and Noah Eagle they'll be doing the play-by-play on those 2 games. That's Ian's son, Noah, by the way, who I like a lot. I don't know what he's doing, if he's doing football right now, but he did a lot of good stuff during the Olympics. And the analysts, I don't know who's doing what games, will be J.J. Watt, Greg Olson, and Nate Burleson. So at least they're stealing some guys from the networks who I don't hate. But if the networks are not involved, if the main networks are not involved in the production of these games, oh my God, it will be just god awful. So it looks like, yeah, I see that. I still don't know which game they're going to looking at this. Oh, here it is. Ian Eagle. Noah Eagle will be joined by Olson for Houston and Baltimore. And Iron Eagle will have J.J. Watt and Nate Burleson with him for the Steelers and Chiefs. They better have more people than just announcers, I'll tell you that. Oh, did I say 55? Yeah. 58, even worse. He turned 58 a few weeks before this fight. I laugh at the people, the fakes, the script that went around. You know, some things are just bad. Some things are just a bad idea. And a 58-year-old man fighting a guy 30 years younger than him when he hadn't been in the ring in 30 years or 25 years, whatever the hell it was. Don't split hairs with me, Rick. Was just a bad idea. I mean, people talk, well, he didn't use his uppercut. He had plenty of maybe he just couldn't fire, man. The brain might be willing, the body might not be able. Or vice versa in his case, who knows? Jesus, I mean, people, you know, what did you think you were going to get? It was a sideshow. We knew it was going to be a sideshow. People thought Tyson were going to win this fight. Don't know anything about, I guess, physiology. There's not a 58-year-old man out there who's going to beat a competent, even a mediocre boxer. It's not going to happen. Gotcha. Oh, look at all the rants I got. Where are you guys with your rants? Obviously, this segment is not going to go very well. What's another rant? Dion. The talk about Dion going to the NFL. Might happen. It ain't happening next year. He just got the number one recruit in all of the country at quarterback to commit to Colorado. Not going anywhere, guys. He's got his team. I think they lose to Kansas this week, just saying. But again, I've been wrong about Colorado all year, although I have bet them a few times the last month. He's got his team in position, again, to control their own destiny, get in the playoff, and then anything could happen. What an exciting college football season. All the opponents of the college football playoff expanding to 12 because, the regular season won't mean a thing. It won't. Every week means something. There's 20 teams, 21 teams maybe, alive to get in the playoff. 13 of them control their own destiny. That now, again, within that 13, there are teams that might play each other, but they still control their own destiny. There's probably 8 teams that are in the playoff if we were to have it today, which we don't, by the way, that could still fall out of that top 12. We're talking about Army on November 22nd. We may not be late in the day on November 24th or 3rd, but we are so far today. Regular season will be not exciting. It won't mean anything. Are you guys nuts? Now you can tell me that, you can tell me that the conference championships lose some luster, and I'll agree. Because quite frankly, there are teams that will be better off not getting into the conference championship. For instance, Indiana might be better off with a very close loss to Ohio State tomorrow and not get in the conference championship game than get in the conference championship and lose badly. Now, if they beat Ohio State and get in and lose, that'd be different. But they get into the conference championship game. Oh, well, actually, maybe not. They beat Ohio State. They can't get in a conference championship game without beating Ohio State, I don't believe. So maybe that's irrelevant. But Georgia and Ole Miss? I think Alex still not feeling well, by the way. But there's AC. AC, you got a rant for me, baby? Get in here. Click one of those links and get in the studio. You got to have some kind of rant for me. Can be anything you want to talk about. And maybe Alan pops in here. Alan's still not feeling well, by the way. Alan did a nice job last Friday while not feeling well with the performance of the Cowgirls and the Okies. He's probably not feeling any better. No, I think I read something yesterday. He's still got the flu symptoms and not doing very well. AC, great to have you with us. Again, click one of those links. You can come in here with me live and give me your rant. What was I ranting about? I've had so many rants this morning. I was still talking about the college football huddle. The college football, the college conference championships now, again, may be a problem. I may be thinking they should be crowning the regular season winners as the champions. Georgia has, I don't think Georgia and Ole Miss have any incentive to get into the conference championship game. They can get in and lock up their spot in the playoff, but they could also lose a third game and be out. Now, if your conference is going to have, two undefeated teams or a one-loss team, two one-loss teams, probably not going to be a factor if it's in the Big Ten or the SEC. And quite frankly, it's better in the ACC and the Big 12. Those conference championships are going to be very relevant because they may be the only ones that matter. They're the only teams that are going to get in are the teams that win. I don't right as we stand today, and a lot can change in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I don't see the ACC or the Big 12 getting 2 teams in. So much in flux. Notre Dame can't afford a loss. They can't lose to Army or USC. They're going to probably be out. I'll put this up one more time for you guys who have not popped in. Who's this? Don't pop in the show, Swadeen. I appreciate you coming on, but, listen, I would love to have, Joe Rogan numbers. And I don't, I'll put your comment up there only because I get 5 of you guys a day and I don't know who I can trust and who I don't, right? We've done very well on this show, quite frankly. We're well over 2,000 followers. Each show gets between 1,200. Every once in a while, one will straggle at 900 or something. But just on Facebook, between 1,200 and 4,000 views. Sometimes we've had interviews that have gone over 10,000. Yeah, I'd love to get 1 million subscribers and 10 million views like Joe Rogan. That's not going to happen whether I get guys like you, Swadeen, or not. So, thank you. Appreciate you guys reaching out. Georgia might have a revenge factor depending on who's in the conference championship game. I'm not saying listen, them getting there, Rick, and them winning would certainly be the best case scenario for Georgia or Ole Miss because, and they need some help just to get there, by the way. Because if you get there, obviously you cement your way in if you win. But if you lose and you got a third loss, now you are hoping the committee wants you in, and you got teams ready. You get a third loss in the SEC, it opens the door for a second team from the Big 12 or the ACC to be in the mix. And you don't want to throw more teams into the mix. I think Georgia and Ole Miss should just win out, hope they don't get in the conference championship, and just sit right where they are. Both of them have better resumes than Texas. I do tell it like it is. Thank you, AC. Listen, you're welcome to come here right now and tell it like it is as well, AC. You got a rant you want to bring on? Bring it on. You might be at work too. Everybody I talk to at 9 o'clock in the morning is at work. I'm wrong. And as Rick said earlier, I always admit I'm wrong. What's the point of trying to hide from it? You're never going to hear me say later on, oh, I told you so that, Georgia, blah, 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 if I think they're no good. I'm also honest about my own team's chances, right? We haven't seen Danny Fuller or Chris in a while, too. I hope they're doing okay, guys. Haven't seen you in a bit. Maybe we'll see you this afternoon. You got a message from somebody on Facebook here. Oh, that's nothing. I'm also honest with my own team's chances. Yankees. Again, Yankees. Have we ever seen a World Series team? They didn't win, but they were in the World Series with as many holes and question marks as this team. Miami Hurricanes this year. There's no way I can say to you 100% unequivocally they will not lose to Wake Forest over Syracuse and be in the conference championship game. They lose a game, Clemson's back in the conversation. As what caused my little issue a couple of weeks ago when I was out. You got to be honest with yourselves. The Patriots suck. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Whoops. I'm just waking up and can't rant for an hour or two. You'll find out, AC, as you get older and older. Rick and Ronnie, maybe you can attest to this. You get up earlier and earlier. And you're ranting from the beginning. Oh, God. We might end a little early if I had a couple of work fires starting to. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If we get a couple people, if we get somebody that wants to come in, we won't. I'm trying to think what else I want to rant about. Gosh. We're going to rant. And Sunday, by the way, we get in. That's why I want this to be a once a month thing, right? I want this come in and do your rant to be a once a month thing. And I've got interviews the other 3 weeks. And as I said before, guys, we're working on lots of guys. Rick Barry, I thought was going to be our guest today, and Rick went dark on me again. Let me see who I've been reaching out to. But we do have, right now we got Billy Sample set for, I think, the 6th of December, maybe the 13th. Right now it's the 6th. Former Yankee, Ranger, Brave. Was a very productive Major League Baseball player for a long time. Fran Tarkenton, Rick, I've been in contact with. But Fran, after an initial, positive response, has gone dark on me. Artis Gilmore, I think we're good. We're just looking to set up a date. I gave him my number yesterday. We should get him hopefully in the next few weeks. Rudy Tomjanovich, Mario Ellie, Spencer Haywood, Leo Rottens, Jeff Fry, John Lieber. Those two guys, really good baseball guys. I'm on Facebook with them a lot, and I just can't seem to get the dates locked in. Al Oliver, June Jones. We had a date set for an interview to tape it because he's out in Hawaii. It's a little tough. Tom Marinovich. I left him out earlier. Lee Mazzilli, Biff Roberts, Randy Jones, Jim Laritz. I could go down this list and get more. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to get some local guys on. And Tony Bruin. Tony Bruin, if you're watching this, Tony, I know you watch the show. I still got to reach out to your guy. Tony Red Bruin from Syracuse Orangeman fame, Arani. Wants to, I don't know if we're going to do something on this show. I had Tony on it for one-on-one a couple years ago, but he wants to. I don't know if we're going to do a new podcast or I'm going to help these guys out. I don't know what. We're still kind of talking about what the format will be. But Tony wants to start doing something more regularly with some stuff. I got to call his partner who, I don't know if he came up with the idea or whatnot, but we're working on something with Tony. It could be a new show, could be whatever. You must be somewhat positive about the Patriots' improvement from possibly being the worst team to competitive. I'm more positive than I was, a month ago. And again, another place that, right, and again, I'm not going to say I'm totally wrong because my concern about Drake May was twofold. I didn't want him to go in and fail. right? And end up with Zach Wilson. You'd lose your confidence and all this other nonsense. It's not just Zach Wilson. You can name a bunch of guys who were forced in too soon. Drake May was ready to play. The other part of it was injury. He's already had one concussion. He still doesn't know how to slide without his head. But yes, I am somewhat more positive because they're not a boring team to watch play football anymore. Right now, they're fun to watch. But there is a lot of work to do before this team is ready to compete for Super Bowls or maybe even division championships, much less Super Bowls. But there'll be some work to do there. I think that's Miami basketball was the only leg I lost yesterday. A 10-team parlay. That's some balls, man. Get the other 9 legs. Who were the other games? And I hope it was a small bet because 9 teamers, man, 3 teamers are hard enough. Yeah, I think Fran probably wants to get paid. I know that. Listen, Fran's probably not watching, and I guess I don't care that he is or not. I like Fran, and I know that Fran has had some issues in his life with some of the dealings that he's got into financially. And it's something that we would probably talk about. Maybe he doesn't want to do that. Plus, I'm small potatoes, man. I'm not, again, this isn't, I have no illusions over the fact that guys don't come on. And Fran, he'll probably ask for money. Mike Vale asked for money. And it was for a charity. So God bless him. I'm not mad at Mike Vale. Mike Vale, if you remember, was a outfielder. Might have won Rookie of the Year. He was in contention for Rookie of the Year with the Mets back in the 70s. Had a pretty good career. Played with the Cubs and the Dodgers. And listen, again, productive major leaguer for a number of years. But he was gung-ho coming on the show. I asked for a $300 donation for a charity, which I think is commendable. Listen, this is a nonprofit show, and I'm not paying $300 for guests. When we have some sponsors that are paying us some money, God bless SeatGeeks. And this show is brought to you by SeatGeeks, as you saw at the beginning, and you'll see at the end. When there's some money rolling in from that, then maybe we will offer something to some of these guys. And I'm more likely to give it to a Mike Vale who wants some money to give to his charities than I am to, put more money in Fran Tarkenton's pocket. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can wear these guys down, though, Rick. Chuck Foreman wanted money. And I said no. Tommy Kramer wanted money, and he said no, and I stopped contacting him. But I don't know. Maybe, Tommy, I know Tommy's, going through a rough time. I think, Rick, you told me he was diagnosed, I believe, not to misspoke. I don't want to misspeak. I don't really want to get in trouble, but I want to say dementia. I'm not sure. I know he had quit drinking. I hope that's the case. I saw something on Facebook. I don't know whether it was accurate now. Let me just take a quick look at something. And it could have been an old picture. Tommy Kramer. I want to see. Oh, crap. Never mind. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to look it up. You give people the opportunity to push their books or charity. I do. I give everybody a shot. And that Candace Faberhagen, and I got to reach back out to Candace because Candace is very kind. Offered to help get some of her board of directors from Sabe's Wings to come on the show. And I'm excited. There's some great names on there. Most of them from the world of sports, a couple not from the world of sports, but I think I'd still like to have them on. I reached out to a couple of comedians recently because I had such fun and a great response to Tom Dressen being on the show when I started doing the one-on-one interviews again. I wish I could have got Tom live. You guys would have loved interacting with Tom Dressen. But I've reached out to a couple of guys. One guy, Brad Upton, who I like a lot, and I hope to see locally here soon. Couldn't get him on. I reached out to Brian Regan, who's going to be at the Egg this weekend. Can't get him on. These guys are busy. And I get it. But again, I'm small potatoes, so, But as Rick says, I give everybody an opportunity to push their book or their charities or whatever. Brett Saberhagen was a great interview. I had so much fun with Brett. And most of these guys I have a lot of fun with. I can think of like 2 interviews I've done in the 5 years, 4.5 years, whatever it is that I've been doing this. I can think of 2 interviews, maybe 3, not 2, I think, that really just didn't feel like they flowed well. I didn't enjoy myself. I think you can see when I do interviews, I enjoy it. I enjoyed this. I enjoy the whole thing. But then you get somebody in who's not as engaging and they're, too many yes and no answers and whatnot. I like guys who I can ask a question and off they go. I have so much fun. Rick has mentioned a lot of times that he can tell when I'm having fun with an interview. My body language gives me away, right? And pretty simple. Well, you just got to click the link. You got, let's see, what do we got? We still got 13 minutes left. I'm going to put the link up one more time. And anybody wants to pop in, I'll give you 5 minutes. We probably only got time for 2 people. We're got to be off by 10 o'clock. Sonia seems to have a connection to Pat Williams. Pat Williams? Who's Pat? The only Pat Williams I know just passed away, who was a Magic GM, Sixer GM. I'm not sure who Pat Williams is. Bob, our Patriots historian. November 22nd, 1959. I can't do the math. Bob, how many years ago was that? Well, I'm 64, so I guess that's 65 years ago. The American Football League Board of Directors voted to accept the Boston franchise as the 8th and final franchise in the AFL. Therefore, November 22nd, 1959 is the official and legal day of the team's founding. The first official draft of the NFL was held on that date as well. Bob, great information. Bob does some great, listen, as a Patriot fan, I love this stuff Bob does. And Bob, as I mentioned, I don't know, Bob, if you heard some of the guys I'm after, I've chased a bunch of Patriot guys too, and I just can't, a lot of them I can't find on Facebook. Don Hasselbeck I found. I was in contact with the late Russ Francis before he sadly passed away near here, unfortunately, in a plane crash near Lake Placid last year, I think, or earlier this year. But Bob, if you ever have somebody, I will be glad. All you have to do is click that link, AC. And we're getting a little late today. You're going to have about one more chance. All you have to do is click that link I just put in, or maybe if you can't click it, you might have to copy it and paste it into your browser, and it will bring you into the Facebook. I'm sorry, not Facebook, the StreamYard studio. You might have to put your name in, and there you go. You're done. Defensive lineman for the Bills and Vikings. Who's that? Oh, Pat Williams. Well, let me put him on my list. I've reached out to so many guys. You guys heard the list I just mentioned out to. Maybe I started to get, maybe my eyes are getting too big for my belly. As far as who I'm chasing after. But I don't think so. I love having those guys. Bob was in the process of writing a book on the life of Russ Francis when he passed. That's too bad, Bob. Was he involved in the process? I take it was an biography that you were helping him write, or were you writing the book independently of Russ? And something we can still look forward to. Russ Francis, one of the, I think, an underrated guy in the history of the NFL as far as tight ends go. Tight ends were certainly different back in his time, and he was very talented, and a lot of interest outside of football. Russ Francis, and he's a guy I would love to have gotten on the show. Anyway, Bob, if there's any guys, because I know I see a lot of stuff. I know you still have some interaction with Patriot guys. I've been after some guys and just have not been able to get them over the top. Don Hasselbeck, Troy Brown, Ty Law, a bunch of these guys just haven't been able to get them over the finish line to get on the show, and I'd love to do that. If there's any help you can do, I'd love to do it. We couldn't decide whether it was fiction or nonfiction. I don't. If the, so we were going to write a fictional story of Russ Francis's life. Would he have been like? I can almost picture him being like, what was the? Oh crap! Who's the guy who hosted the Gong Show? Dangerous Minds. A Dangerous Mind. What was the name of the book in the movie by Chuck Barris? I can see that being Russ Francis, a secret life of espionage and whatnot. I think there's some fiction in Chuck Barris's book, but that remains to be seen. Bob, you do some great stuff, by the way. I love seeing some of the stuff Bob has done, and we've had Bob in to chat a few times, and Bob will have you on again. For a full hour maybe to talk Patriots history and bore the rest of the people to death. All those guys who hate our franchise because, we only stunk for, 40 years before we actually won something, and 40 plus years. And, then we went on the best 20-year run in the history of the NFL, and now people hate us, which I'm okay with. By the way, there were some good teams smattered, I guess, in those 40 years, but we had a lot of fun. Absolutely, we will do it. And if you got any, I'm going to send you a message, Bob. Well, we're going to do this because I want to get if you're free in December on a Friday. Bob, I don't think you have my number, and I don't want to put it here, but I'll reach out to you. Send me a private Facebook message if you think of it right now, even so that I remember, because at 65, almost my memory is starting to go. But I just lost my pen. I've lost my pen in just the last 5. Oh, there it is, wrapped up in the napkin that I was playing with. God, there's something wrong with me. We're going to get Bob on. We've had Bob on in spurts, but never done a full hour with Bob. And I certainly want to do that. And we'll talk about the Russ Francis book. And hopefully Bob is still going to pull that off, because I would love nothing more than to read a biography of Russ Francis's life. Maybe a lot of people wouldn't who aren't Patriot fans. If you haven't, you'd be missing out, because he's really quite a story. So, and Bob, again, not to not to be too upfront, anybody you got contacts with anywhere in the NFL, not just Patriots, but I know you Patriots is your love, and as it is mine, and you might have some more direct contact with some guys than I have, and if you can help me get a few of those guys, I'd love it. I mean, I've got so many guys not Patriot guys, but so many guys in the hopper, and it's hard to get them over the finish line. And I want to get back to at least 3 interviews a month. And I think I'm going to look into that intern thing, maybe hiring an intern. Somebody mentioned not hiring, but somebody working free. I always like slave labor. That's what this country is built on. That's a bad joke. Don't send letters. Send them to, wherever. But somebody mentioned I should get an intern, journalism, or I'm not even sure which department or who to contact at UAlbany or even Siena here locally. I have not talked with Ken Crippen. I'd love to get Ken on the show for sure. Anybody, Bob, that you have that's been associated with the Patriots or NFL through the years, I'd be happy to reach out to and try to get on the show. And if you want to grease the wheels, I'm more than happy to have you do that. So anyway, I think we're going to look, after the first of the year, I'm going to look into this whole unpaid intern thing and see if I can get somebody to do some of the legwork that while I'm working, I just don't have time for. I go in spurts, right? I just gave you guys a small list of 15 guys that I've had contact with. And it's a process. Very few. Billy Sample's great. Yeah, Keith, let's do it. What date? Those are wonderful. And we'll have Billy on in a couple weeks. But the rest are more like, yeah, let's do it. And then I'm chasing them around again for a month. Ken Crippen. Oh, anyway, so we're probably going to do that. And we'll be back later. Myself. Anyway, what do you got here? I've got a local school. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. AC is Albany State is right here nearby. Sienna's not far away here in upstate New York. So these guys get doing internships free of charge, I believe, for the most part. Because hey, listen, this is a nonprofit show, man. I'm looking to retire here, and I can't be spending my hard-earned money on it. And so they've got to be free. I'm sure we can make that happen. So we'll have some fun with that. Maybe Brian Spagola can help you with the interns. So you have a group every year at the Hawks, do they? I think they're probably marketing people, right? I thought about that. Marketing people would be good people for that too, I think. Because I think if I'm not mistaken, the Valley Cats, the Tri-City Valley Cats also do that. Most of their marketing staff, I think, are college interns, so probably ought to go there. My audio's gone funky. Yeah. Sorry. Well, we'll wrap it up here so we don't have any more problems. I muted myself by accident. And then sometimes Facebook has been funky lately. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. We'll see you at 3 o'clock with Drew, and we'll have some fun then. I'm not hearing any music. Very interesting. I don't know whether that helped the audio or not, but we're going to wrap it up, guys. I appreciate you coming in and sharing this hour with me as always. We'll be back at 3 o'clock with the update. We'll be back at Sunday, on Sunday at 8:30 a.m. with the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, our favorite show of the week. And they're all favorites, I shouldn't say. So we'll see you later. Keith Engle, TGI Sports Talk. Have a great Friday.